ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਫਿਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਸਮਾਗਮ ਦੇ ਦੂਜੇ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ 'ਚ ਜਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਖੇਤਰ ਦੀਆਂ ਸ਼ਖਸੀਅਤਾਂ, ਸਰੋਤੇ, ਵਿਦਵਾਨ ਸੱਜਣ ਇਸ ਮੌਕੇ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਫਿਰ ਸਮੂਹਿਕ ਰੂਪ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੰਵਾਦ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਤਿੰਨ ਪਰਚੇ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨਗੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਣ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ। ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਵਿਦਵਾਨ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਸੰਸਥਾਵਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਅਤੇ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਖੇਤਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਆਪੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਿਸ਼ਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਪਰਚੇ ਲਿਖ ਕੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਸੈਂਥਲ ਨਾਥਨ, ਕੰਪੇਨ ਫਾਰ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਇਕੁਅਲਿਟੀ ਐਂਡ ਰਾਈਟਸ, ਚੇਨਈ। ਡਾਕਟਰ ਕਮਲਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ, ਸਹਾਇਕ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ, ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਅੰਗਦ ਦੇਵ ਕਾਲਜ, ਖਡੂਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ। ਤੀਜਾ ਪਰਚਾ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸੇਵਕ ਸਿੰਘ, ਸਹਾਇਕ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ, ਇੰਟਰਨਲ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ, ਬੜੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ, ਹਿਮਾਚਲ ਪ੍ਰਦੇਸ਼। ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਿਨਾਂ ਇਸ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨਗੀ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਜੋਗਾ ਸਿੰਘ, ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ, ਡਿਪਾਰਟਮੈਂਟ ਆਫ ਲਿੰਗੁਇਸਟਿਕ ਐਂਡ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਲੈਕਸੋਗ੍ਰਾਫੀ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਪਟਿਆਲਾ। ਉਹ ਇਸ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨਗੀ ਕਰਨਗੇ। ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਜੋਗਾ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਮੰਚ 'ਤੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਵਿਰਾਜਮਾਨ ਹੋ ਜਾਣ। ਅਤੇ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਬੁਲਾਰੇ ਸੰਥਾਲੀ ਨਾਥਨ ਜੀ, ਚੇਨਈ ਤੋਂ। ਅਤੇ ਤੀਸਰੇ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਕਮਲਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਸਟੇਜ 'ਤੇ ਆ ਜਾਣ। ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸੇਵਕ ਸਿੰਘ। ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਗੰਭੀਰ ਵਿਸ਼ੇ 'ਤੇ ਚਰਚਾ ਕਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਮਨਜ਼ੂਰੀ ਲਵਾਂਗਾ ਇਸ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ। ਅਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਸ ਸਮਾਗਮ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਬੁਲਾਰੇ ਸੈਂਥਲ ਨਾਥਨ, ਫੈਡਰਲ ਕੋਆਰਡੀਨੇਟਰ, ਕੰਪੇਨ ਫਾਰ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਇਕੁਅਲਿਟੀ ਐਂਡ ਰਾਈਟਸ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਪਰਚਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹ ਆ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਐਜ ਏ ਹਿਊਮਨ ਕੈਪੀਟਲ ਫਾਰ ਬਿਲਡਿੰਗ ਏ ਮਲਟੀਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਐਂਡ ਇਨਕਲੂਸਿਵ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਇੰਡੀਆ। ਇਹਦਾ ਜੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਰੂਪ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿ ਸੰਘਵਾਦੀ ਅਤੇ ਬਹੁ ਕੌਮੀ ਭਾਰਤੀ ਉਸਾਰੇ ਲਈ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਦਾ ਮਨੁੱਖੀ ਪੂੰਜੀ ਦੇ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਕੀ ਮਹੱਤਵ ਆ, ਇਸ ਦੇ ਸੰਬੰਧੀ ਇਹ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਸਾਂਝੇ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸੰਥਾਲੀ ਨਾਥਨ ਜੀ। ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਕਿ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਸਾਂਝੇ।
Good afternoon, everybody. First, my sincere apologies for not speaking in Punjabi. I do not know the language. I love to learn the language. I am also a close friend of Dr. Joga Singh. So, I would like to speak about some of the core issues on languages and nation building, or languages and economic development. But I am going to do that by giving some examples or sharing some small experiences with small stories. I am not going to give you a lot of statistics and all, though we have tons of them, particularly in the post-lunch session. Let it be very simple and lighter. First, I would like to thank organizer of this seminar at this juncture, at this time, when everybody in India speaking about inclusive growth, making India, and so many other beautiful words, smart cities and everything, but they are not taking one of the most important factors of development, that is languages, into consideration. They are developing national education policy with so many innovative and interesting new things. But when it comes to languages, it has a language part too. It's simple old thought. So the time is really good. I should really thank the organizer for organizing this program. And I must thank Dr. Joga Singh introducing us to this group. Dr. Joga Singh is part of our initiative called Campaign for Language Equality and Rights, a civil society organization that came into existence last year in Chennai, where people like Dr. Joga Singh and other panelists who are in the morning, Dr. Deepak Pawar, Dr. Gorga Chatterjee, Mr. Sagir Sagu, they all participated in a program on September 20th last year in Chennai, where we commemorate the 50th year of anti-Hindi agitation of Tamil Nadu. Hundreds of people were killed, more than 20 people either self-immolated or took poison to show their resistance on this language issue. That's the 50th year. That was happened 1965. 2015 was the 50th year. So we had a program, and Dr. Jogha Singh and others, they came where we discussed, and we found that the problems of languages in India, it's almost same. So we decided to come together and formed this organization. Clear. Campaign for Language Equality and Rights. Now we have more support. Just a few months back, in February 21st, which is International Mother Language Day, we had a program in Jantar Mantar in New Delhi, where we released a document. In Chennai, we released a document called Chennai Declaration of Language Rights. I think the copies have been distributed here. It has the Punjabi version also. I will give the URL, you can download that. In Delhi, this February 21st, we issued another document called Delhi Demands on Language Rights, which is list of specific demands. In that particular document, representatives of 40 languages have been signed. We start with some 6-7 languages in Chennai in September. But by February 2016, the number of signatories included representatives of 40 languages, which includes some of the languages which are falsely considered as the dialects of Hindi or dialects of some other language. So now the issue of language is slowly building its momentum, and people are started to talk. So one of the core factors for that kind of awareness is Dr. Jogha Singh. So I should thank him for that. It's very interesting to know that when I go through the issue of languages in India, there are so many similarities between Punjab and Tamil Nadu in terms of languages, in terms of political, on the demands of federal rights or everything. But I think in the morning, Dr. Deepak and Gorga has given a lot of insight about these things. So I would like to take some other perspective now with some small interesting facts. Actually, I am coming from an industry which is related to languages. For the last 15 years, I was engaged in both media-related services and as well as translation-related services, which includes activities on language computing. In this 15 years, I encountered a lot of interesting things, and they have some kind of relation to our discussion today. Some 5-6 years back, I was working on a project for a public body in UK. It's called NHS, National Health System. It's a public health system in United Kingdom, but we were working in Chennai. Suppose some Punjabi in London or Manchester or somewhere else has to immediately admitted to the hospital on urgency basis. The moment the hospital got information about the admission or about the arrival of the patient, the first thing they normally do is call a interpretation agency to arrange a Punjabi interpreter for the patient. It is not only for Punjabi, for all the languages. So a company in London is organizing such kind of Punjabi interpreters, and we provided the outsourcing services. So if a hospital somewhere in UK got a Punjabi patient in the next 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 1 or 2 hours, maybe the appointment is coming Monday, whatever, they will immediately call the interpreter and arrange a Punjabi interpreter, and will do all the basic necessary works for them, so the interpreter will be available when the doctor visits the patient. It may be for 30 minutes or 1 hour, whatever it is. And why United Kingdom is doing this? And that particular business is outsourced again based back in India. The hospital is there in UK, the patient is in UK, the interpreters is in UK, and the interpretation agency also in UK, but they are outsourcing the communication service in India. I was part of it. But the question is very important. Why NHS wanted to provide an interpretation service or the translation service to the patient? Because it is mandatory. It is legally required for a doctor or a hospital in UK to provide the service in the mother tongue or the native language of the person. So they respect the patient, and it not only respect, it is pragmatic also. Suppose if the patient knows English, that's okay. What will happen if doesn't know English? So they are not saying that, oh, no, you are in UK, so you must speak in English. They are not saying that. They said, I will arrange an interpreter on my own cost to provide the service to you. This is how a developed country respecting its citizens. Just think about the position in India. I cannot get Tamil service in the bigger hospitals in Tamil Nadu itself. Forget about Delhi or Mumbai or anything. In Apollo hospitals or anything, in all the bigger hospitals, I cannot get service in my language. What is this? Just think about it. If you are not getting the very important health related, treatment related information in your language, do you have any right? Why the right is actually given legally in UK but not in India? This is a question. So it relates to various aspects of language issue, politics, economics, communication and so on. Let me come to another interesting example. If I go to Singapore, where Tamil is one of the 4 official languages, I feel it is my home city. The moment I landed in Singapore Changi Airport, I can able to communicate officially in my language everywhere. It's available. The information, public information is available in my language. The percentage of Tamils in Singapore is less than 7 or 8%. There are some 2 or 3% of Punjabis as well. So in Parliament, in all the government offices, in most of the educational institutions, in the metro, in all the public places, particularly in all working places where the working class is doing some kind of menial labor or some kind of hazardous labor and all, they provide all the information in Tamil, Malay, Chinese and English. But even in Chennai, I am not able to get that kind of service. In Singapore, I feel at home because in Singapore, Tamil is one of the 4 official languages, but I am not able to get that kind of service even in Chennai. Forget about New Delhi. So, which is my closer? Which city is so closer to me? Singapore or New Delhi? And you can see similar things for different language communities. Somebody will say similar thing for Dubai, somebody will say similar information with Dhaka or something like that. I got very interesting information from one of my friends who is a translator in Poland. I was asking the question, what are the languages you learn during your, that is the early age education, LKG, kindergarten and schools and all. And she told me it's always Polish, Poland. So Polish. Then I said, when do you start learning English? He said it will be only during the secondary education. Then I asked the question, why you are not started your education in English from the LKG level or the first standard or second standard and all? They said that is foolish. Once you mastered your language well with all kind of necessary education equipments and all, it's very easy to learn any number of languages later on. So why should I burden my children as if learning a language itself is a great knowledge and all? Then I asked another question. Was it the case even in the other East European and Central European countries? Yes, it's the same case. A Polish child do not have to worry about anything when it enters into the kindergarten in Warsaw. But a Punjabi, but I do not know much about Punjab, but I can say about what's happening in South, a Tamil child or Kannada child, when he or she entered in the KG, if she opens her mouth to speak something in the mother tongue, she will be slapped. The innate linguistic capacity of the children is destroyed. A huge psychological violence has been unleashed against our own children. What kind of violence it is? And where has it happened except in India? You do not have this kind of education policy anywhere else. Not even in African countries, where they normally go for English, French or any other European languages as the higher secondary level. So a kid in Japan or China or Korea or in Europe do not have this kind of problem. They are not facing this kind of linguistic violence, but in our own town, just in the street corner, in the small school, the moment the kids enter into the school, they have to become very conscious and they have to think that they should not open their mouth in their own language. That will be a crime. So they have to start mimic English, not learn. Mimic English from the teacher. So what kind of education policy is this, and what kind of governments we have who do not have anything about language, relation between language and education? These are all related to the language policy making. And it is also related to the rights. Again I come to the same point. When my brother in Singapore, Malaysia or in Sri Lanka have no problem in sending their children to Tamil school, now we are losing that kind of rights in Tamil Nadu itself. Psychologically and socially, not legally. I don't know, it may become legal also very soon. Currently it is not legal, but it may even come legal. So what is the position of our languages now? What we are losing? One of my friends who is in China, he's a Tamil businessman, he's in a city called Hangzhou in the eastern China, recently posted in Facebook. He took flight from Hangzhou to Hong Kong, two Chinese cities, and in the entertainment menu they have in the flight, that's in the entertainment, music or film and everything available in some bigger flights, and also some information about the safety of the passengers and all were provided in multiple languages. He was able to choose any language and you found Tamil is one among them. But the flight is between Hangzhou and Hong Kong, not between Hong Kong to Chennai. He was able to select Tamil and he listened some Ilayaraja songs, whatever. And how this is happening? But in Tamil Nadu, even if I fly not from, Gorga gave the example of Calcutta to Chennai. Even I fly from Chennai to Madurai, both are in Tamil Nadu, the safety instruction is in Hindi or in English. 99% of the travelers might be Tamils. So how come the Chinese government was able to do this but we are not able to do that? Very simple. It's matter of technology and matter of policy of freedom and policy of respect and policy of language development. You can easily get those information and put it in the system so the system can support any number of languages. China government is doing that. Here they purposefully do not want to do that. Actually, your ATM card is a smart card. It can include any number of information and the banks are actually using your private information also. So when you are going to an ATM and want to do the transaction in your mother tongue, what they have to do is they have to just record one small information about your preferred language during your ATM application or somewhere else, or once during the lifetime. You can select one or two preferred languages. So it can easily show when you insert the code, just like they take the information about your name, account number, and which bank your account is belonging to, everything. It can also take your language preference information and can display the ATM in the language you want. Just matter of a small 2 or 3 lines of code, nothing else. It's happening in Europe. If you are using smart card and using London Tube, you can print your ticket from one point of London city to another point in Punjabi or in Tamil, but not in Chennai. So I can use this smart card anywhere else in India and I can access ATM in Tamil. It can be done, but why it is not done? Why London is doing that? Why New Delhi is not doing that? Is it not politics? Technology is providing all kind of service. It enables everything. Language has become core of information technology today. I am working in that industry, that's why I am telling all the things. Why it is not happening? Why the airplanes in India is not supporting our languages? Why the ATMs are not supporting our languages? Why the railway stations are not giving tickets in my language? These are all political. They are nothing to do with any convenience or any problem in handling. It's not the management problem. You have the technology, you have the management skill to do that, to resolve all these issues. It's purely a political problem. I do not have a right to have my safety information in the flight in my language, to have the ticket in my language, or to access the ATM in my language. This is the issue. Some 10 years back, I remember, there was a bank in Chennai, ABN AMRO. Now it is merged with some other bank. ABN AMRO is basically a Netherlands-based bank. They had an outsourcing wing in Chennai. At that time, I was running a language teaching school in Chennai where we taught French, German, Russian, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, all these languages. One of the senior executive of the bank came to my institute and he requested, I am ready to give job for 20 people, any degree, with some basic knowledge of Korean language. I am ready to give 10,000 10,000 rupees as additional to the regular salary for those people. Can you train some 20 people and give it to us? This is a request from the senior executive of the ABN AMRO. At that time, Chennai has some very good Korean population too. There are so many Korean companies like Hyundai and all had their operation. There are some 200, 300 Korean families in Chennai. I was thinking that these people are going to provide their service to the Korean company. Maybe they might got some company account from Hyundai. But the manager said something else. I asked him, to what level of Korean knowledge you want? I said, I just want the writing and reading level. So they are not going to speak with Korean. No, they are not going to speak with Korean. They want to just to read the name. Then he has taken a check, ABN AMRO check, and showed me. In this checks, the name of the person is written in Korean script. Even the currency information is also written in Korean script. The problem is this company got a big Korean account. So the scanned images of checks have been sent from Korea. They have to process the check. They have to enter the name of the account holder, also the money information into the system. That's it. Not beyond that. All the communication in Korea, in banks, commercial banks, which is providing service to commercial organization, are writing in the Korean letter, Korean names and Korean thing. It's also interesting. Then I asked the question. He was talking to me about, because he has some connections in Southeast Asian countries, because that's why he became the senior executive here. Then he told me a secret. It should be a secret. In Korea, the government of Korea has instructed the banks and all the organization to do business only in Korean so that only the Korean people are getting jobs. Even when they want to outsource their job, they want the person to learn Korean and provide service to them. Then the manager told me, it's an economic power statement. It doesn't mean that Koreans are learning English. They are learning English. They are completely westernized. Just like we have so many computer institutions, you go Korea, you can find every street corner you have the English institution. But these are only comes again not in the school level, after the school level. They learn everything in Korean. Korean is the official language. Korean is the business language. Korean is the market language. Korean is the consumer language. At the same time, they are learning any number of languages, Chinese, Japanese or English, whatever languages they want. And in order to ensure their power, a kind of safety within that particular language. So, when France or Korea or Japan, China, Russia, when they are insisting their language, it's not because they love the languages. It is there, I am not saying no. It's not because they hate other languages, no. It's actually a sovereignty issue. My language means I have control on this particular space of business or politics or whatever. I am happy that you can have business with me in any other language. Let the B2B language be English. I can talk to you in English, you can talk to me in English. Maybe perhaps in some international exhibition. But my business language is Korean. This is the statement the Korean check provided. Yet another example I can give with some comparative way. There is a city called Suzhou in China, which is known for silk industry, textile and especially silk. I read this in some magazine. So in that particular town, there are many bookstores and publication companies which is providing lots of translation of textile related and silk related books from English and the other European languages into Chinese. So what happens, an ordinary Chinese person doesn't have any degree or is not the textile engineer and all. Very ordinary Chinese person who is working in the textile industry as a normal employee. So the level of understanding in his domain, that is in textile, of an ordinary Chinese textile worker is much higher than its counterparts in anywhere else in the world. This was the study I read. But if you just compare the situation in maybe Ludhiana, you have the textile sector, I think, and you have the such kind of sectors in Tirupur, in Tamil Nadu, Mumbai. There are so many places. What is the level of textile industry knowledge of our workers? If they want to learn something, is there any facility for them to buy such kind of books in their mother tongue? See, you cannot say the textile worker should undergo 20 years of English education to read a book. You cannot say. That is not business. That is not economics. That is not education. He is a worker. He wants to know more about his industry. Ordinary worker, completed his 10th class. In China, he is able to learn more about his industry in his mother tongue so that he can go up in the ladder very fast. Do our workers in India have similar rights or similar opportunity? If it is not, what is the reason? Why the entire developing and developed world countries are going in one direction when it comes to language? Why we are going another direction? Particularly in opposite direction. We are killing our languages. The publishers are perished. Local language newspapers are completely perished. The government of India issuing Hindi advertisement in Tamil newspaper. What is that? I can give you so many such examples. But finally, it is matter of politics, economics and development. To put it in very simple terms, economic development is based on so many capitals. Finance capital is one among them. You need money. Then you need the human resource capital. You need people. If it is related to manufacturing or agriculture, you need the natural resource. That is also a capital. But in Western economists and management theories now, speaking yet another capital, they call it as human capital, not the human resource, not just about the availability of people. It is the availability of language, that is knowledge and skills within a particular person. The countries which has much better human capital is actually growing very fast. There are many studies, I couldn't read out everything now, there are many studies, the countries which is investing on knowledge infrastructure in the language of that particular country are picking up very fast in developing the human capital. And that human capital as one of the key indicator for development for any society. So even if you have so much money, even if you have so many people ready to work, and even if you have so many rivers to destroy or so many lakes to destroy, or so much of granites or any minerals to extract it, still you need this human capacity. That human capacity cannot be developed in a single day, or you cannot buy it. You can borrow money, you can borrow human resource, you can bring people from other places to work in your places, or even you can buy human materials, that is natural resources. You can buy everything, but you cannot buy human capital. And you cannot grow it overnight also. It's a very, very tricky issue. Europe and Southeast Asia has developed this human capital for many decades. That's why they are in this level today. And one of the core factors of developing human capital, you ask any educationist or any economist or anybody who know about the human capital, is about developing our linguistic capacity. If I am not developing my linguistic capacity in my language, which is natural to me, instead of waiting 20 years to learn ABC of English or the present tense and past tense of English and how to convert from direct speech to indirect speech or vice versa, if you put all your efforts in your language, that is economically the correct way of doing it. That is economics. What we are doing and why it is happening now, this way. So far, if you take the Indian situation as concerned, we have two types of language policy. One is actually an anti-language policy. That is, practically we do not have any good language policies. But if you dig it deeply, you can find it is actually an imperialist language policy. Two imperialists are coming together and fighting with each other to dominate us. Again, I am not speaking against any language. This is a multilingual world, we know that. I am talking to you in English now. This is a multilingual world. The requirement and need of learning more languages is must, but it's only for those who need it, not for everybody. If you want to learn more languages, there should be some mechanism to do that. But ideally, the condition is you have to put all your efforts in developing your languages as the powerful tool of information and communication. But in India, the language policy, the imperialist language policy, is supporting English on one side, Hindi on another side. I would like to say something about 1964 agitation now. Because it is called anti-Hindi agitation, most of you would be thinking that it is actually anti-Hindi. It was not. It is actually against making Hindi as the sole official language of India. We have no problem with Hindi being one of the official languages of India. In 1965, because of the deadline which is set in 1950 when we adopt the constitution, English is supposed to be there in India only for 15 years. It's supposed to be go on 1965. So we were fighting to include or retain English for some time. Annadurai, the DMK leader, spoke in parliament that 1963 spoke in Parliament. Until all the languages are made as official languages, let us have English to continue for some time as a stopgap arrangement, but the demand is making all the languages listed in Schedule 8. At the time it was 13 languages, including Punjabi, Tamil, Bangla, Marathi and all. So that was the original demand. But because of the situation, the deadline is nearing, so there was a problem in Tamil Nadu, a huge protest is going on for more than a year. So in 1965, the goal of 1965 agitation is not against Hindi as a language or Hindi being the official language. It is against Hindi being just only one or the sole official language of India. But the actual demand was making all the languages. So our marches died not just for Tamil. It's for Punjabi also, for Bengali also, for Marathi also, for all the languages. That was the core demand. C.N. Annadurai is made in Parliament very clearly. This is just, English is only a stopgap arrangement. Just like we have an umbrella when there is raining. We need umbrella when there is a rain, so the English is just umbrella. He wanted to have all the languages to be recognized. Even today, both DMK and ADMK, I have so many criticism on them, but even today, they always demanding making all the languages listed in Schedule 8, 22 languages, to be the official language of India. We never had separate Tamil demand. Always, even in that will be mentioned, suppose Tamil will be mentioned, but in all the electoral manifesto of DMK, ADMK, you can see Tamil should be made official languages of India along with all the 22 languages which is listed in Schedule 8. So it is not just anti-Hindi. It's a fight for language equality and rights. So today we are in a position that there are so many languages fighting for including their language in the list of Schedule 8. There are some 40 languages fighting for the status. I do not know what we are going to get just by simply listing in the Schedule 8, but still it is a recognition. And Sahit Sagar this morning he spoke about the fate of Khosla language. There are so many. So to put it simply, if you want development in the nation, that is inclusive development, if you want real integration of the people from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, if you want the democracy and the liberty of the modern society to be ensured, if you want to respect the diversity of this nation, I would rather call it federation. Even though you mentioned the word nation building, I would like to consider it as a federation building. We are all nations. There is Tamil nation, Punjabi nation, Bangla nation, Marathi nation and all. This is federation. So federalism, language equality, inclusive growth, social justice, secularism, these are the basic values we are upholding now. And the language issue is not just language issue. That's why I gave all these examples. The examples I gave from Singapore, China or Europe is not just examples. If you go deeply into it, you will identify those nations or those countries also had very bad experience in linguistic issue in the past. They learned it. In Singapore, 78% of the people are Chinese. It was a British colony. And it was part of Malaysian, that is a Malaya region. So there was no need for them to make Tamil as official language. It's numerically very small. We don't belong to that particular region also. 78% of the people are Chinese. It's a British colony, so English is automatically their language. And it is part of Malaysian region. So why they gave that kind of status to Tamil? Only to maintain the respect and peace. This great Lee Kuan Yew do not want to have any ethnic conflicts in the small islands, so he gave equal status. Equal status. So a small tiny country like Singapore can do this. Why not India? See, we are not asking a right to communicate with the government in Tamil in Ludhiana. We are not asking that. We need such kind of support in Tamil Nadu. and you should have in Punjab and somebody should have in their own state. When we are talking about making all the languages an official language, doesn't mean that some person from Odia can go to Gujarat and write something in Odia and get the information or reply back in Odia. I am not saying that. In the respective states, in the respective regions, both the state government and the union government should use their languages of the people as the main communication language, and all those people, the commerce people, these business people and all, should respect those languages. If ABN AMRO can provide support for Korean from Chennai, the same ABN AMRO is not giving any support for Tamil in Chennai. Because Korea has that kind of language policy and we have this kind of language policy. It's very pathetic. So overall, the fight for linguistic freedom and fight for language equality and rights is essentially a human rights issue, essentially a federalist issue. It's an issue of secularism and social justice. It's actually one of the core issues debated during the Constitution Assembly discussions. But now, because of the power of the central government, the power of so-called national media and all, we are not debating it in detail now. But yet the time is getting changed. Now this is a great forum to discuss about these things, and we hope organizations like CLEAR can do their own contribution to the fight for language equality and rights. And I think this is my second program in Punjab in the last 1 year. There was a program in Jalandhar last year, this in Ludhiana now, and you are always in the forefront of fight for language equality, federalism, secularism and all. And you can find your counterparts in Bengali, in Maharashtra, in Tamil Nadu, in Karnataka. Karnataka today is vehement about this issue. There are lots of youngsters fighting for linguistic rights. I think at this particular moment, nowhere else you can find the number of language activists than Karnataka. So you have people awakened on this linguistic issue from so many places, including Jharkhand. And you keep on calling me as Senthil Nathan. Actually, I am Senthil Nathan, but I liked that. If you calling me as Senthali, I liked it. I am Senthil Nathan as well. So it's actually, if you go by the historical roots, these Munda speaking people, the Santali speaking people, these people who speak language like Munda, Ho and all, they are one of the original inhabitants of this country. But what happened? When the Sahitya Academy displayed their books in one of the programs in Chennai, I visited at that time, they listed the books in Santali and other Munda languages under the category of unrecognized languages. These Aryan languages and Dravidian languages came later here. These Munda people are original inhabitants of this country. Who are you to recognize them? Unrecognized languages. Can you see such kind of insensitive and imperialistic signboard? Unrecognized. What is the recognition? Who are you to recognize? But if you have to recognize, why you are not recognizing it? So the people of Chhattisgarh, people of Koshal, people of Santhal, people of northeastern states, are they unrecognized people? But you want their land. You want their natural resources. You want their labor. But you don't want to recognize their languages. The people in Bastar, people in so many hinterlands of central India, are they unrecognized people? Each one of them have more than 2,000 years of literary history, oral history, or any kind of history. And you are calling Tamil as regional language. It's a joke. My language is official languages in 4 countries. It is one of the major languages in many of the diaspora, just like Punjabi. A MP can speak in Canadian Parliament in Punjabi and Tamil, not in Parliament of India. You have so many, there is 6 MPs in Canadian Parliament, you know that very well. So how do you call my language or Punjabi or Bengali as regional language? What does it mean? Our language is global language for more than 2000 years. It is one of the business language of trade in Indian Ocean. We had our trade spots in Java, Sumatra, and other places. Malayalam too. The kind of relation between Malayalis and Gulf countries very deeper. And Bengali is one of the important languages, a bridge between South Asia and Southeast Asia. What is this you are calling our languages as regional languages? These are all political. The only solution is a federal system. And the fight for language equality and rights is one of such steps. But we have to take this into much serious way, because if we lost something in this generation, probably we may not recover. There are second generation Tamils in Tamil Nadu who studied in English medium. Their children perhaps may not have sufficient knowledge in Tamil. So it may be a loss once and for all. So if we are not fighting for our mother tongue now, then it may be too late. In the next generation, it's very difficult for you to revive it. This is like the environmental issue. In both linguistic diversity and the ecological diversity are functioning similarly. If you are not doing something now, then it will be too late. So the fight for linguistic equality is most urgent thing, and we have to start this with two major areas. One is education, and thankfully Dr. Joga Singh is one of the major resource person for us on this, and another is this constitutional validity, constitutional reform. We have to push our parties, whether it is DMK or Agalital or Trinamool Congress or Shiva Sena, doesn't matter. We may have a lot of differences with them. We have to push our parties. We should make them to form an alliance in parliament to make a constitutional amendment to do three things. Make all the 22 languages listed in Schedule 8 as official language of Indian Union, and make a language commission for that. Then we have to fight for including some 40 languages which are fighting to be included in the Schedule 8. That's the second demand. And third demand, that is even more important, there are hundreds of languages in India spoken by small ethnic, tribal and coastal communities are simply dying without care. We have to save them. They are like endangered species. These are the endangered languages. We have to save them. So unless we have taken this political route, saving our culture, saving our uniqueness, our identity, our freedom, and our place in this planet will be in danger. Thank you very much for giving me an organization. We would like to work together. Thank you very much.